Hello and welcome. I am the Bearded Warrior, and this is our first episode on our new series of Stranded Deep, the island survival game. Now, as you can see from the options here, it does say day 1. I'm going to go into the cartographer, I'm going to randomise the map, and as you can see there, it will generate an entire new world based on the seed number, which will start erase the existing save files, so we know we're starting brand new. So we're going to get into the game, so we can choose our mode. We're going to stay on normal, we're going to stick to the gender, we're going to leave permadeath off so that it's just a fun playthrough, it's not a challenge mode or anything. Wildlife can be passive, removed or default, we're going to leave them at default, and we can start with the start and create, but for the challenge we're going to leave that out. So we're going to start the game and then we'll get into a bit of detail, go through a bit of what the plan is over this series. But first off, welcome to Venga Airways. Pump up the sound system cause we're going to Ibiza. Oh no, massive hole inside of the plane. Well, this was fun, guys. We're not going to Ibiza anymore. We are in fact going up here to be straight down. And before I can say my last one, so when you start the game, you find yourself on a plane to, in my case, Ibiza, and you plunge forward into the water. Your person's knocked out, and you can see up in the top left it gives you a new objective to swim to the surface. When we swim up, we're going to find ourselves in the middle of the ocean in the middle of the night with very little going on other than a life raft which we have to swim towards. And that is how we start the game. Very abrupt, very straight to the point, and that brings us into our world. So when we load up on the raft, and we are surrounded by lots of sea, lots of random islands, and our start island. Now, I can hear already, first thing we see is a shark, so we're going to move towards the island, and then we will start discussing. So for people who have never played this before, I will treat this like a sort of tutorial walkthrough to buttons and stuff. So you hold square, square is for grabbing things, so you hold it to attach it, you press square to pick it up, and you can just ride along. So if you're playing 2-player, which is a 2-player game, someone can just sit on the raft. First rule, avoid these things, they will poison you. So if you hold L2, if you're playing it on PlayStation like I am, this would be PlayStation buttons, references, you can drag things. X is to jump. Now, as you can see up on the left there, it does give me a bunch of objectives. We will go through that, but first thing we're going to do is actually explore the island itself, as it will have wreckage. Every start island generally starts with some loot crates and other materials which will help me on my journey, such as cloth. Cloth is your best friend. Now, if you press L1, you will go into your backpack, and if you use your left analog, you can scroll around. So if you're holding something, you can go back to your hand so that you've not got that obstruction visually. Use your right analog stick to look around, and the point of this series is for me to try and survive on the island. This will be home base. Explore new islands that you can see in the distance here, and eventually try and escape. Okay, so I can see a wreckage. You can see bubbles there. That means there's some form of wreckage. Now we need to be careful. We did hear the shark noise. Don't worry, these little guys are completely harmless. There are 5 types of sharks you'll come across. The first one is that one that we've seen. It's called a goblin shark. Quite a deep wreckage. Okay with this because I need to get back up. Careful there, guy. Hopefully it's okay. This might have been a wasted journey a lot more. Imagine it was not wasting your journey at all. Lashings are very helpful, and if you click on your left analog stick, you will sprint or swim quickly depending on. So I'll jump backwards and forward. These things here, lionfish, avoid them, they're poisonous. Sea snakes and regular snakes are also poisonous, and the other one was that sea anemone plant. Those are the three things you need to avoid getting in contact with, as they will poison you. Yeah, so we'll try and explore the islands and we will eventually try and escape. If you hold in your left button you will sprint, click on your left analog stick you will sprint, but you will see that yellow bar depleting, that is your stamina. When that goes down you will basically pass it. And here's another one of the sharks, the tiger shark. We've seen two already, excellent. We're not going to fight them today, we will actively avoid them. So when you go into a chest you can see you've got stuff, you can fit up to 5 different items, and depending on the item size you'll be able to fit anywhere between 4 and 20 of certain items in your thing. And you can carry that crate, so you can carry up to things like 10 items, so you could have 10 crates full of 5 items. So it's a really useful storage method for collecting materials such as planks and other materials that you may use. We'll go through what some of the items do as we're going through the gameplay. 3 bits of cloth away, excellent. That's what I need for what I want to do. But I don't see, oh I do see blue boys as well. We're really on a roll today for this one. So these are great for building rafts. You get different levels of raft materials. And shark's back. We get it. You're somewhere in the water, you're big and scary. So you can see the music change, which will suggest there is a shark nearby. There's also vehicle parts, I will bring them back to the island. I generally don't use the vehicles, but for the sake of the game, you will 100% use the vehicle, purely for visual representation more than anything. So now we've explored our external island. The only other thing was there's a big crate around here. They're generally empty, but they're good for shade or for decorative if you want to use them for building your shelter. So it's asked me to pick up 2 rocks and 2 sticks. You will, if you press triangle, you get your watch. Your watch tells you about your different attributes that you need to pay attention to. So you've got your heart, which is your health, you've got your hunger, you've got your thirst, and you've got your SPF, which is some damage. If you press L1 and R1 you'll move along the watch. So we've got our different skills, so we've got our hunting, our cooking, our harvesting, our physical, which is caused by like swimming and climbing and stuff, and then craftsmanship, which is building. Each skill will go up, and as the skill goes up you will develop stronger traits. So for example, if you increase your hunting skill you will inevitably do more damage. Avoid these like the plague, they will poison you, and there's only one kind of plant in the entire game that can heal you, which we will need to grow, and I'll get into that in a little bit. If I go up to this side of the container, it's a little one as well, we can use it for shade, and you can see now up at the top right it says UV, so we currently have no UV, so our SPF will go back up. We also have a status effect which shows us if we're healthy, so if you've got any health issues it will pop up there. And then we've got statistics, so days survived, ships scavenged, islands explored, animals killed, and items crafted. And those statistics will change as we go through. So we'll focus a bit on the tutorial now, and then we'll actually get into, yeah, so you can see there's lots of different islands. I always pick the center island as my home base, purely because it just kind of leaves you with a general point in the middle for everything to float back to, which I kind of like having that centralized position. So as we go through it we'll discuss things like these young palms and stuff like that. Today's episode, you can see there, is really just to establish a base, and which is what we're going to do. We'll start with some basics here, and we will also hopefully build a shelter. We will build a shelter, as the only way you can save the game is through building a shelter. So So I like to grab all the rocks, and then we'll go through the tutorial. I'll talk through what it's asking. It gives you a basic description of how to play the game, and then it leaves you on your way to function. So we have to grab 2 more sticks. Stick 1. Corrugated scrap. Hello, Mr. Stick. Hello. Oh, stick. Okay, so we will grab the stick. And now it wants me to create a pile. So if you hold in R, you get a quick menu and you can stack items of certain quality, so coconuts, logs, etc. And then when you go back into it, you can scroll up and you can take those items out. I actually am going to stack the logs up here, as it makes it a little bit neater for everyone. This top crate is full of stuff. I cannot fit any more than that. So I'm going to take these vehicle parts out of here and put in the beams. Lanterns are very useful as it's a light source that stays on. Just keep that in mind. I'll take these out, and this is going to be my vehicle parts one. I don't like the vehicles that much, but we will move this out of the way, bring it over here, and drop you here. I'm also going to drop my hammer and my other flag here. Okay, so now what it wants me to do, it wants me to go into R and go into my crafting menu and highlight and press to craft the stone tool, like so. So now we've got a stone tool. It wants me to make the yucca trees. So you can see here, this plant here is called the yucca tree. It will revive every 2 days. So the first thing you really want to do with the palm trees and the yucca trees is harvest these as soon as they show up, because as soon as you do it, you've got 2 days until they come back. They're one of the few resources that do actually regenerate resources, so keep that in mind. When you're starting an island, you generally get about 3 of these. Sometimes if you're unlucky you'll get 2. To my experience, I get 3 quite a lot. So if I go into my inventory again, what you'll see is this little stone tool starts to get damaged. Can I use one of my yucca plants there? I hope not. Oh no, there it is. So you'll see here, just underneath tool, it says durability is 86%. Once it hits 0, obviously the item goes poof, it disappears, it dies. So you want to use this item for a little bit, wear it down, because once I turn it into a knife, so young palm trees will respawn, they will never grow into trees. Yes, so once turn it into a knife, it goes back up to 100%, so utilise it as much as you can. And have I got an unlucky island that only has 2 yucca plants? Of course I do. Oh well. So these little things are really useful. You can use them for lashings, which you see me pick up, and lashings are literally the foundation for building most of your items, because they are the string which pulls it all together. We got really lucky with plants. Oh no, oh we do have another yucca tree. Okay, we have a good island. So 3 yucca plants. They are also really useful as you can use them for your water supply. So that's always helpful when we make a water still. We need to replenish it so that it actually gives us water. Things like these trees, they can be cut down, but once they fall, they are down for life. Let's keep that in mind. 70%, we've got plenty here. So what we're going to do is I'm actually going to use this right up until it is ready to keel over. You also noticed on the watch, we do get the time. Generally speaking, I will actively try not play during the night of the game, as it will be a little bit more difficult for you viewers at home to see what I'm doing. So that's not really much of a video for yous if yous can't see what I'm doing and I'm just running about in the darkness telling you. But for this first day there may be some working into the night while we establish a home base. So I've grabbed some of the basics. It now wants me to go into here and it wants me to highlight. If you click R, it'll pin it to your toolbar what you require, and it's telling me that I can use lashings. To make lashings, you need to make it from this crafting menu here using 4 lashings, and it will make 4 fibrous leaves will make a lashing. So I think I've collected all these little palm. Yeah, I've collected as many as I can see. So what I'm going to do, since it's got 60%, I'm actually going to cut down a palm tree, because that will be a requirement very shortly. I'm going to use this to start at least doing the damage towards the palm tree, so that we can grab coconuts. You can climb the trees and grab coconuts, which I'll discuss in a second, but I like to use as much of the rock, because rocks are one of the rarest currencies in this. Like, you will find the material you run out of the most is rocks. Like, there's plenty of trees, plenty of sticks, you can make most of the other stuff, but rocks are a limited resource. So unless you're using a mod pack or something where you get extra, or you've pre-made your own island so that every island has rocks on it, you will find that is a rarity. So like I said, when you cut this down 30%, we then get it as an item, and we can bring it back with our coding in L2. Like I said, I'm just going to establish my home base here, and I'm going to cut off this palm bunch. When you cut off the palm bunch, it will be loose like a palm bunch, so you can pick it up, or you can break that down into palm fronts, which we will need to do very shortly. Okay, that's it detached. 16. Let's see if we can get this all the way down using just this. We are getting close to night, so okay, so that is the furthest we're going to use this for. We're going to grab ourselves a lashing, and we're going to make a knife. So now we want to make the crouch, clicking on R3, and kill this crab. Now, crabs aren't an excellent source of food, but if you go up to them, you can press square to pick it up, or hold square when you've got a knife to skin them, and you'll get yourself some raw meat. Okay, we've got 2 sticks, so we really need to go get more sticks. What I'm going to do is, for this sake here, is we're actually going to use this. Which, like I said, if I drop this here, it stays lit, so that's really cool unless you turn it off. Let's go find ourselves some sticks. What I'm going to do is show you a cool feature. If you highlight the item you want to make, when you're near something on the map, even if you can't see it, you can see the number up there is how many sticks I've got in my inventory. But if I walk by sticks that are just loosely lying on the floor, it will show me it in my inventory. It will go up to 3. Of course, walking by a stick is apparently impossible, so we may have to actually cut down some trees. If you've seen it go up to 3 and I've missed it, fair enough. Sticks are normally hidden in like these bushes and stuff. So right now you can see that's went up to 3, even though I'm not picking it up. So you can use this to find items, or if an item falls into, sometimes they'll fall into like dead spaces and stuff that you cannot reach them, then you can just do that. Okay, so I'm going to make the light go away. I'm going to cut down this tree with my knife. Should take about 6 hits, 5 hits, cool. And then I've got sticks. Like I said, we're only going to work into the night until we get our shelter made up. These videos are probably going to be about half an hour a piece, so that it's not overly long, and I can hopefully keep your attention, because I don't know about you, but I don't have the largest attention span. So I get bored very easily. So you will find that I'll start a job and then drift, and start a job and then drift, you know, just as we all do. So we've got some kindling. Kindling is how we start our fire. And I kind of like the idea. This water. No, I kind of like the idea that this here is going to be kind of like my base. So for now, I'm going to stick a nice little fire here. And then what you can do is you can grab your meat. Now once you've skinned an animal, the meat will stay edible for 24 hours. To start the fire, you hold the kindling to it, and then you alternate between L2 and R2 on the stage on the screen until that red bar is filled up and the fire will start. Now these do have, you can see this white circle around it, that is its fuel source. When you do that, I've already got a coconut. So you can climb tree by holding X. Make sure you don't jump off the tree, as it will result in you actually taking damage and potentially breaking your legs. So you can drink coconut by holding R1, R2. I wouldn't recommend drinking more than 2 at a time, as it will make you ill. And then you cut it in half and you can actually use it as a food source as well. And once again, I wouldn't recommend eating more than 2 of them at a time, otherwise you could end up making yourself ill. That's always fun. Okay, you can go down here, and my lashings can actually go over here. We can make piles with lashings as well, and fibrous leaves, and also sticks. Okay, so I'm going to once again just show you the feature. We can now go L2, so we've got crafting, we've got our building, but you need a hammer for that. Vehicles, you need a hammer for that. Farming, you need a hoe for that. And then the story, which I won't go into just now. And then consumables, which we will get when we level up. And then you've got L2 for the menu and crafting. So we've got general tool storage, hunting, decorative, shelters and buildings, and then tools. So we're going to highlight this so we can see exactly what we want. We need 2 more sticks. So you heard that ting there, that means my meat is cooked, so I'm going to put it in the fire. And we're going to eat this, just so we don't accidentally poison ourselves later down the line. Now there's a bunch of things you can actually do for food. You can fish, you can hunt birds that are near your island, you can set up traps. You can even survive if you wanted to be a vegetarian. It's actually one of the achievements. So if you wanted to be a vegetarian, that is also an option, but you have to really struggle. Also on your life craft, you start with rations, which gives you food and water servings, a compass, which I choose not to use, and a bandage for bleeding injuries, which I've got a feeling you'll work out how this comes about. So we're going to very quickly craft ourselves a lashing. I always like to point my camp bed towards the fire, so it's kind of like sitting in front of the fire, but it's entirely up to you how you want to do this. Like so, and we're going to sleep so that we get into day. My craftsman level just went up, which meant I've now unlocked the ability to make more stuff. Now I always try and put it a little bit further back. I think I've actually put it too close. So I think I'm going to rebuild my campfire. Now when you destroy materials, you actually lose some of the materials until your crafting skill is high enough. So please keep that in mind when you destroy something, that you will lose some of your materials. I'm not going to need my fire just now anyway. I'm going to need more wood stuff. And I kind of want an axe as well. So wood piles are quite good. This driftwood here, it gives you a decent, I think it gives you like 6 sticks, maybe 7. Either way, it'll be more than enough for what I need it for. There we go, 1, 2, and we already got 2 off it. So as you can see, even when you sleep through the night, it still wakes you up at like 5 in the morning, so it's still dark for a good portion of the night. And the reason I didn't want this directly next to my shelter is because I'm going to eventually add a smoker to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to prioritise a new tool. We want a crude axe, so we want some lashings, we want some stone bits here, and we obviously need a stick. Then I want 3 of these. See what I mean about rocks? They're already replenishing quite drastically. And then we'll put this around here, and it actually just helps preserve some of the fuel. Okay, so do we have the ability? Nope, we need to get to level 2 before we can use the buoy boils. So what we're going to do is, what's our level like now? Okay, I get it, there's a shark nearby. I'm going to make a spear, purely for no other reason than, well, for hunting, but also I'll break this down. Actually, we're going to leave trunks. Trunks are quite helpful. Trunks can make planks, and planks can be used for good materials. So we're going to break this down, and we're actually going to make ourselves some spears. Not that we're planning on going hunting just now, but to get the level up to level 2, which is perfect. I'm going to put these down in a pile next to my sticks, and next to my rocks. We're now at level 2, which opens up our main item that we're going to get before we finish today, which is the water still. So we need a palm front. This gives us a water supply, and then the last thing we're going to leave us with is a good food supply for that early game. So we need 2 lashings. I know it says we need 1, but we need 2. The reason we need 2, how are we doing for hunger actually? We're thirsty, so that's a good example. The reason we need 2 is because we actually need 1 for the coconut thing there. So you can see here, if we go to consumables, we need to make a coconut flask. We need a full coconut, it can't be a drunk coconut. We need a full coconut and a lashing, so we technically need 2 lashings for this creation. And we press square to pick it up, then we can make this into consumables. Now what I will always recommend here is when you make it, is drink from it first. And the reason why is because you can still use it, but you get 1 portion of water out of it before you use it. And then over here, I'm going to stick my water still over here somewhere. And the reason why is because I like to have my water still near my farm. So I think I'm going to stick it here next to the rocks. And what happens is you get palm front, or you get, I'll use leaves for this. You get these, and you can actually fill up the base, and that will fill up with water accordingly. And that's us basically set up for a basic home island. The last thing we're going to do, now there's sharks on this side of the water, is we're going to go find ourselves a half decent food source. Now remember the key thing to half another rock, beautiful. The main thing about a food source is making sure that you have early game. Okay, so right here is a beautiful plant. This right here is called a PP plant, and that is what you need if you are poisoned. So keep that in mind. These little crabs can't pinch your toes, but they won't do damage. There's no real hostile threats on your island, just outside of it in the water, but when we go to other islands we will encounter bigger problems. Yeah, so the PP plant is used for poisoning, and I will discuss some of the other plants' benefits as we go through, but the only ones we really use is the sun plant. It's not called a sun plant, but it's designed to prevent sunburn. You can either make it into a potion, and the PP plant for its poison. There's other ones you can use. So when you go into the water, you'll see lots of little fish. Earlier on, I don't know if you noticed it when I was going somewhere, there was a large brown fish next to a little shark. These are called groupers. Groupers are a one-hit stab with a spear. You cannot use a fishing pole on them, but they provide you with 2 pieces of medium food, whereas a fish provides you with 1 small bit. Just keep an eye on that blue bar, because that is your oxygen. And your guy will start to panic once that goes down, and after a couple of seconds of that being completely down, we'll drop it. So we're going to look. If we hear the shark noise, we're going to swim the other way back to the shore. They do swim a little bit out, but if you're lucky, some of them come a little bit close to the land. And as you can see, by being underwater and swimming, I'm increasing my physical ability, which means you can swim a little bit harder, chop down a little bit quicker, stuff like that. So they look like they can stab you, but can they? I think they might be able to stab you as well. Watch out for them just in case. I'm going to find out just now, because I've got 1 PP plant on my island. I want to see that in case of a genuine emergency. Okay, so the problem is at this time of day as well, generally the vision is quite limited. As the day goes on, the water clears up and you can see further into the water. Also watch out for lionfish, as they can stab you. You can't attack sea turtles, but why would you? The music went really quiet there. So what I would always recommend is find yourself a couple of groupers early game, and anytime you see one, if you've got a spear with you, just stab it and drag it back down. You can't just pick them up. Here it is right here. Oh, there's a plane wreck here. I did not know that. Okay, we'll come back in this direction in a second. I'll just grab the one now and then we'll explore this plane and then come straight back for that plane wreck. This poor plane that went down. Yeah, and these, so the good thing is, as long as I leave it in the fish, the meat will not rot. As soon as I blow that fish out of water, as soon as I use my knife and take the meat out, you've got 24 hours. Okay, paper number 2. Okay, so I'm going to prioritise food here to explore, because why wouldn't I? Food is key in this world. Survival is the game, exploring is just part of the fun. So we're going to finish on exploring that plane and then we'll wrap up there. In the next episode I will add some more objectives. You can see I've overexerted myself, so now I cannot sprint again until that red bar goes fully up and I get my stamina back. So just be careful if you're like running from a shark or anything. If that bar goes down, you will not be able to swim quickly. And in key moments that is quite essential, so just keep that in mind. Also just listen out for them, because another one. I'm really tempted between the grouper and you know what, let's play Nick. Where's Nick? Can I make it up? Definitely see a play Nick. Yeah, definitely. Here we go. With groupers. Oh my god, there's groupers over here. Awesome. Right, let's just go up, get some oxygen, and then we'll go down and explore. Inside, generally sharks that won't be here. So you're genuinely okay inside, so if you hear them, don't panic. We can't get in here. Cool, a bunch of stuff. Okay, cool. We'll go back to the spear because I'm feeling we're going to get some more free food. Oh, just go back up for some oxygen. Stab grouper. And then go back up to the surface and drag this bad boy back to land. And that'll be everything for today's episode. We've had a pretty decent haul. We've got ourselves a good supply of food. We've got ourselves an unlimited water supply, which we're going to go get a drink of before we finish. And we've established a home base, so I hope you've enjoyed that. If you have, please feel free to like and subscribe and support the channel, Free Rock. And I look forward to the next episode. We will also be starting a new series on Pokemon Emerald Nuzlocke, so we'll be alternating between that. Keep an eye out for that. But until the next time, Bearded Warrior, over and out.